Hello, hello, and welcome to the DecentraWise Podcast. My name is Pedro.
And I'm Miguel, and you just join us in our mission to decentralize the world wisely.
Wisely, very important, and more important, even more important, is to grab your coffee. I have mine. Sit
No,
back and
I'm
relax
sticking
because
to
we
water.
we are talking about something very important today, which is NFTs and the potential of NFTs to completely change ownership forever. So stay tuned. We are having this conversation today, and I'm expecting it to be very interesting, to say the
Yeah, yeah,
least.
yeah, it will be for sure.
So if you want to join the conversation, there is a chat room in the comments. Just say what you want us to discuss, ask questions, say hi, say where are you from, and interact with us because we love it. And yeah, in the meantime, as you are going down, there is a button that says like, press it. And there is another one that says subscribe. If you enjoy my beard, click it.
Yeah, yeah, and click it if you don't either. And the bonus for that is that you will get notified for new videos that come up, and yeah, that's the best thing.
That can be a bonus or not. It's up to you. I think for us, it's always a pleasure to be here and to
Yeah,
discuss
it's always fun to
everything.
have this. It's always fun to have these good conversations, and we go deep in several subjects. So yeah, just grab a beer, coffee, water, whatever, um, and stick to us.
In my area, it's Medronho. Grab a Medronho,
Yeah.
and if you drink like a glass or like this, you will be good to talk NFTs for sure.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Okay,
anyway,
so let's start with it.
yeah, go ahead, Miguel. This is your idea.
Okay, so let's start with the NFTs. What are NFTs, and what we can do with it? So the thing is, somebody came up with the idea of having one token that could correlate to some resource,
Something.
let's call it, to some resource in the real world. So there are really good advantages with this, and some really big problems that are still to be solved. So you want to start? You had a very good experience on the music stage. So I think NFTs are really good solution for the music for the music.
Well, that depends because I really think that the future of any ownership or any registry of art, doesn't matter if it's music or video or anything. I really don't have any doubts that it will pass by some kind of NFT technology. Not as we are doing it today. I think what what has been developed doesn't make much sense, in my opinion, because I don't see digital ownership as as owning the music or the art piece. It can be there, it can go there, but in other terms, not in the terms that we are used to. But that is another topic of discussion that goes well behind the NFT uh, thing.
Yeah, I think there are two paths there. So we have, for instance, digital resources like music, digital art, and then you have physical resources like, for instance, real estate. And you can have NFTs that correlate to both of this kind of resources, and they are to be applied in a different manner, because if you want to have an NFT for a house, it only correlates one to one. And if you want to have for a digital sound, or let's say a song, for instance, that NFT can correlate to infinite resources. So I think it's there that the NFT fails.
It's not a failure. It's a misuse. But guys, if you want to join the discussion about what NFTs mean to art, there is a sketch of a DAO, a future DAO, which is artliberation.org. Just go there, join us in the discussion, and it's just a starting point. I cannot do anything. I cannot do everything by myself. I am expecting to be joined by musicians, composers, painters, photographers. If you are in the art world, digital art mainly, um, please join the discussions, because I really think that there's a lot of things that are not w- already thought that NFTs can mm, do much good. And there are things that are being done with NFTs that shouldn't be done in the first place.
Yeah, just
Because,
put the link on the chat so that people can see it,
yeah,
and we'll drop the link on the comments also,
yeah,
or on the
I
description.
will write it right now. Artliberation.org. So join the discussion there. There's uh, a chat that you can join, and everything. There is the documentation on Notion. So yeah, there's a Discord channel. So the objective there is to start a discussion, because I really think that NFTs can and will. I'm not. I don't have any doubts. Will be used for the IP part. Uh, but I see IP as a different thing than the IP that we have right now, because the
Mhm.
intellectual property that we have right now um, is a mix of intellectual property and digital royalties, or royalty distribution, and those are completely different beasts, because I really see that the ownership of some creation is completely different than the monetization of that creation. And back in the 1700s, or when the IP laws were started to become a thing, uh, there we didn't have the technology that we have right now. It was very
Yeah,
hard to understand, um, or to funnel the access and the monetization created by the access of that content to the authors. And mostly the authors would be in misery for life, because there was no way to for fans to contribute to the wellness of the authors, right, or the creators. So that was the problem, and it's still a problem today, But I really think that today we have other things that are much more effective than a physical ownership of something digital, which doesn't make any sense at all, because things became digital, right?
Yeah, the
And
thing there is like you have a license to use it, so it's different from owning
licensing
a
is a
huge
different
bunch
thing.
of bytes,
Yeah,
zeros and ones, and you say, I own this. You cannot
but
own this.
well, but
You cannot own
I
that.
didn't
You can own the license to use it,
but I didn't
as
want
far
to
as I can see
go
it.
down that rabbit hole because that's a completely different discussion about ownership of intellectual property
Yeah.
and royalty payment on intellectual property and all that. We can do another episode about that
No, no, no. What I mean
if
is,
people want.
what I want from this episode is to pass the knowledge of what an NFT is right now,
Yeah.
and how it's applicable to the current technology. How is that applicable to today's state of the art?
One thing that I find interesting in the NFTs is the actual uh, provenance that you can guarantee on chain, which is very cool, and it's unmatched. There is nothing in the real world that can come to this effect. So if you have a digital wallet uh, of an artist which is public, and that digital wallet signs the mint of the NFT, it's uh, a provenance 100% sure of that ownership, right? And that's something really cool. Um, the other thing is there are two aspects of NFTs that cannot be mixed. I think one thing is the NFT that represents ownership of a piece of art, a physical piece of art, and that's something that is very very cool, and it is being done. It has been done many times, and it's very cool. It's something really um, interesting because of the easy provable provenance and impossible to tamper ownership, right? And there are some questions on that side for me, which is uh, how can we match the certificate, which I see that it's an NFT. Okay, it's a certificate. How can we match the certificate with the piece? That's something that I don't. I see that might become problematic if it's not done right. But that's just one issue. The piece can be marked with an NFT ID or something like that, and of course there are a lot of ways to explore. But I think the ownership or the piece needs to be done in a way that enables digital ownership, and then everything is okay. There is if there is a match, either by having a a mark on the piece that or like a QR code that you can identify undoubtedly what is the certificate that belongs to that piece, then we are good to go. But the completely different story is on the digital realm, right? It's completely different because um, I see that digital anything is uh, infinitely reproducible. Uh, there is no guarantee who owns what copy, because it's copies. It's not a piece. It's a completely different thing, right? Everything digital is not scarce at all,
Yeah.
right? It's not. Scarcity is something of the physical world,
Yeah.
and it doesn't apply to the digital world. And I think we need to understand that it doesn't make sense to impose scarcity in a digital world, because it has been unsuccessful all the time, and probably there is a reason for that, right? So that's the problem with NFTs, the two digital goods. Uh, but I really think that they have a very interesting use in guaranteeing uh, intellectual property rights and licensing. That's a different story. But I don't think that we should do what we have been doing with digital goods, which is creating gates to cons- uh, con- uh, consumption of uh, digital content. That's
Yeah,
the problem.
that's the different story that we can make another show about it.
Mhm.
Because right now, what it seems to be happening is that we are applying new technology to an old paradigm that we are used to work on. So we are just transferring what we had like 50 years ago and applying blockchain technology over that. And of course, it's not going to work, right? It's not like you are selling the same things that you are supposed to be selling. And you were saying about the reproduction and the infinite reproduction, because it has no cost on reproducing something that it's digital. So it doesn't make really much sense to be charged for that. And we need to see things in some other way. But I think that's for another show. So
Yeah,
right now we have these NFTs that are being applied to the old world. Well, it's quite the same as crypto. It's still we are still
yeah,
the smart contracts are still being developed to move things from the things that we did for the last century into the new blockchain era. And it's not going to work, of course, but I think it's a transitional phase that we have to go through in order to step up and finally apply this whole new technology as a whole that we are not capable to do at this moment. So the NFTs are being used in a way that is that step on the ladder that will help us climb to the real future of NFTs, that whatever it will be. But in the meantime, we will have to change the way we deal with the technology, and we are talking about art, but it's not only art. Art,
no,
I think it's the most obvious thing that we can come up. But all kind of assets can be digitalized in an NFT, or have a representation on a blockchain
yeah,
by means of an NFT. So I think this is the state of the art. It of course has a lot of advantages, like you were talking about having, for instance, a painting like let's go for Mona Lisa. I don't think you'll be able to put a QR code on Mona Lisa on the forehead. I don't know
uh,
if we are going to be able to do that, of course, on the back or on the frame,
yeah.
something like that. I don't know,
It will be
but
something
it
like that.
still brings problems in my point of view. You were saying about how do we know this is the real Mona Lisa, right? and trying to figure out, because I'm selling you an NFT that it's a representation of the Mona Lisa, and you want to be sure that you have the same thing on the physical world. There is that issue, of course, and there is another issue. What if I sell you only the Mona Lisa and keep the NFT? So it's not only the goods that has to be in sync with the blockchain. It's also the blockchain that has to be in sync with with the physical world. So
I,
how can we manage
that's
that?
that's the easy part because I really think that if you agree and if everybody is aware that there is a registry, right? What's the point of selling the piece of art without the certificate of registry? It's the same thing as buying a home, right? Everyone agrees that owning a home implies to have a registry that says that the home is yours. The home is yours, right? And if you buy a home and don't register, don't register, forget to register it, uh,
Well, I know what you
then
mean, but that's not the issue. What I'm talking about is in this transitional phase, which is it's going to be troublesome for sure. It will raise a lot of issues,
yeah,
and this is one of the issues. You don't have a registry; nobody knows about the NFTs,
mhm,
and you can sell the NFT and not selling the paint, and you can sell the paint and not sell the NFT. So in this
yeah,
transitional phase, like we were talking about a house, you can sell a house, but then you have the registry on the government and you have the NFT, so you have to have the three of them in sync, right?
yeah. That's exactly the point. People have to understand the technology, and they have to accept and rely on some kind of registry idea. I don't know how to do it. If it is um, a DAO that will be responsible for minting those NFTs, there has to be some kind of entity that will be credible to certify who owns what in the first place. And then after that, then the market becomes more aware of the authenticity of the NFT related to the physical world. There has to, if there is if there is no way to uniquely identify a piece of art uh, from the certificates, then or correlate both, then
Yeah, but you're
there
talking
is a need
about
for a
linking.
central identity
Yeah, you
entity
are
there.
talking about the link between the blockchain, the NFT, and the real
Hmm.
the real physical item, right?
Yeah,
But I'm also talking about the ownership of both of them, right? It's not like
yeah.
if I sell you the NFT,
The
I will
NFT,
have to be. It will have to be somehow mandatory for me to also deliver the goods, right?
the NFT is just a certificate.
And the other way around, because I can
Yeah,
sell you the painting, the Mona Lisa, and you can keep the Mona Lisa, and
yeah, but that's
then I. But there's a certificate somewhere, right? An NFT
and
that also has value.
that's the whole point. For instance, there is no obligation to use any or just one entity to create a certificate. It can be many entities creating certificates, like the we have today in art. When you have a piece of art, which like Leonardo da Vinci or uh, some very important Van Gogh, whatever. Um, if you bring that piece to sell it for a value that it has to be authenticated,
Yeah.
right? So someone with knowledge and credibility needs to say that that piece is an original, right?
Hmm. Right.
And there are many entities that can do that. You can use whatever feels right for you, uh, because there is not just one entity in the world that knows Van Gogh or Miro or whatever painting it is, or any sculpture or whatever. There are many entities, right? So I see those entities minting NFTs in a very near future, and not certificates, right? But
Yeah.
that's but a single piece of art can have multiple NFTs certificating it, and the difference between a
Yeah,
link.
it's not my issue there. My issue is not
Let me
that.
let me just
Okay,
finish.
just yeah.
Uh, when you have a direct link between the physical world and the digital world, uh, bidirectional,
Hmm.
then you're good to go. There's no doubt there. So you have you have to have the NFT transferred along with the piece, otherwise some value will be missing,
Yeah,
right?
that's
That's
my issue.
easy.
Yes,
That's
that's my
easy.
issue. Now, how do you
But
enforce? How do you not enforce, because it's not a means of enforcing, but
it
how do
you
you make that happen?
you don't have to enforce it, because if the piece has a link to an NFT that represents its provenance and ownership, there's no point of selling this just the piece without the NFT, and there's no point buying an NFT without the respective piece. It's a one-to-one
Hmm.
link, so there's no
Yeah.
no issue there. What becomes more interesting is the when there is no direct link, and I don't think it has to be. It can be in the pieces that are not developed or created uh, with an NFT ownership in mind. We can see the NFT as a certificate of provenance emitted by someone. And if you sell, because in that there is no value in the NFT. The NFT is just a certificate. There is no value. It has no value, right? What has value is the piece. I don't.
Uh,
If you have one NFT that represents the Mona Lisa, and I buy the Mona Lisa from you, and I keep the Mona Lisa and you keep the NFT, I don't really care about the NFT. I can get another one from another certificate entity whenever I want, because I have the original one. So there's no the I there is no other way
yeah,
of
I think the issue is that
yeah.
because I see an NFT as a token, and it has value and can be traded on markets. So it has inherent value. It's not only the physical painting that has the value; it's also the
I
NFT
think
that
I think there
can
are
also
multiple I think there are multiple kinds of NFTs,
yeah,
and people have to open their minds and understand that an NFT can represent ownership or not.
yeah,
And it only represents ownership if there is a direct connection between the NFT and the piece in the physical world, if it's a physical piece. And if it is a digital piece, it's even harder, because digital pieces
yeah,
are a gazillion copies. So there is no way for you to know which is the first,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah, they are all identical. So
so in the digital world, it's even worse because of this, because it's all copies. There is no original, right?
yeah,
So and that's the thing that we have to save for another episode. But let's stick with the NFTs. NFTs represent different things if they are uh, created by different entities, and people need to wrap their heads around it's not just ownership, and it shouldn't be. It's good like it is. Okay. The only thing that I still find that I struggle uh, understanding the logic, and why didn't it. I understand the technical concepts the developers had. Let me just take this out of the way. But what I would like to see in an NFT is royalty management, a better royalty management uh, for
What do you mean by
licensing.
that?
What I mean is, uh, if you include in the NFT the royalty specification, it's just a value that you put on the NFT. There is no enforcement on that, and I see the point because it's a token, and they want to make the token uh, possible to trade in markets and so on freely as any token. Uh, but I really think that it would be very interesting to implement an extension of enforcement for royalty payments,
Hmm.
because the way it is today, I can mint an NFT and require 10% of the trading that happened that happened with that NFT uh, as my fee as a creator, or my
Hmm.
royalty fee, right? And I mint it. It goes out to the wild, and it's up to the markets to pay me if they want.
Yeah.
If they don't comply, they don't pay me,
Yeah.
and I there's nothing I can do about
Yeah,
it.
but I'm figuring that as let's go back to the Mona Lisa example. So in the beginning, the Mona Lisa didn't have that much value, right? So it was just
Hmm.
a painting. But then during the years, the value went up, and the original owner didn't get anything with
Yeah.
that value increase. So I think that would be a very nice idea if well implemented, so that when the value that what you created, if people start giving it more value, you get also a bonus for that.
Not just you, your inheritance
Yeah, no, I'm
as
saying
well.
you as an entity,
Yeah.
or yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So that's one thing that is very important, and I really think that there's work to be done on that regard, because if we want to use NFTs not as ownership but as licensing, that enforcement uh, has to be there, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do
And
agree.
and I
That
really
would be a
think
really
that,
good idea.
yeah, I really think that there a lot of improvements can be um, interesting to create new licensing possibilities, because I really think that the future of digital creations and royalty distribution is around licensing, not around ownership of copies. I think everyone
Hmm.
that is doing that is having a hard time doing that, because it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Why should we restrict the number of um, we are creating digital scarcity
Well,
that
just
doesn't have any
let's go
connection
back. Let's go back a few
to.
years. Do you remember when they came out? They come out with the compact discs that
Mhm.
were restricted to be used on computers.
Yeah,
So even though that you acquired that CD legally and you were just trying to use it on your computer, you were not able to. So you paid for it, but they were restricting that usage. So
let me
it doesn't really make much sense in the same way that
no.
if you want to put one music in several computers of your house, why restrict it? You paid for it, right? It doesn't make sense, the duplication, charging for the
And it's
duplication of
it's
it.
even worse than that because uh, first I am a DJ, right? I have a huge collection of music,
Hmm.
and I have music in vinyl. I have music in CDs.
Yeah,
I have the same music, the same song, both in vinyl and in
yeah, in
probably
different
many
medias. Yeah,
CDs. And if I want to play it digitally, I have to buy a new copy.
yeah, right.
Fuck
So you
them.
just have it the same
It doesn't make
resource on different
sense.
medias. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
it
doesn't.
doesn't make any sense, right? Because, man, I have countless repetitions of songs because I buy a lot of music and I
Yeah,
can buy a CD that has many songs, and my interest goes to two or three of those, and there is a copy of five songs that I already have in others.
yeah,
So I have many copies, and this is just it's so bullshit, this law, that if I go without my CDs to a party and I am playing the songs from the USB stick, they
yeah,
just I am the bad guy because
yeah,
I didn't buy the digital copy of something that I already own 10 times. This is
yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
right? I'm not wanting to use music without uh, sending my contribution to the authors because that's something that I really love.
yeah.
And I couldn't do it. I have a lot of music. I buy music every month since I was like 10. So that's something that I couldn't do. Just it doesn't make any sense for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it doesn't.
the laws the laws are
Yeah, we
even
need to
worse.
change the way
They are
we
just
view things. Yeah.
absurd. They are absurd. Doesn't make any sense. And
Okay.
and I don't see
Yeah.
that NFTs solve this because we are just
No.
implementing the same shit
Yeah.
in a different media,
Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
blockchain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We are still importing the old world to
yeah,
the blockchain. Yeah. And
let's
it's
create
not going to work.
scarcity.
It's not going to work. I mean, there will be solutions that will kind of work, but it's not the proper way to do it. And that is something that we are
But
going to
the
deep dive
problem,
in other episodes for sure, because
yeah,
that's the reason that our channel popped up.
this is not a problem of NFTs, right? Don't get me wrong. NFTs are good.
It's our
Our
problem.
our heads are
Yeah.
not good. We need
Yeah,
to
well,
wrap our
we need
hands.
time. We need time, and it's not only our head. So we need
Yeah,
to move a huge structure that it's the whole world, uh, in order to for at least some people start using it properly. And we don't have anybody
we don't
yet
need to move.
using the
uh,
blockchain properly.
That's not the point of the blockchain revolution. You don't move anyone. You just do better, and they will come.
No,
That's
I mean
the
to
idea.
move people. What I'm saying is to move people's minds to.
Yeah,
stop
mine's
thinking
mine's okay.
in an old
Yeah.
way and start thinking on a new way. But it's not easy because it's like I said, it's a ladder that you have to step a couple of
Yeah.
steps in order to get to the point. And I was saying that that's the reason that our channel showed up, so that we can start guiding people to the proper way of doing things, which is not, of course. We are still trying to elucidate people about the problems that we are developing at this moment. There are a couple of other problems that I think that we should talk a little bit about the NFTs. One of them is the resource lifespan. So what I'm saying is, let's talk about digital stuff, because in the physical world, the lifespan is like the only thing that can terminate the lifespan of an item is that you destroy it. But that can happen very easily in the digital world. So let's say that an NFT is pointing to an HTTP server. If that HTTP server dies, your resource goes away with the server. You can go to IPFS, but it kind of has the same problem because it's kind of volatile on the IPFS. So unless you store it on your own and you guarantee that your resource is always alive, you can still lose your resource. So what do you say about that?
I say that people need to understand the difference between location addressing and content addressing, right? And content addressing, which is what IPFS implements, is like immutable way of addressing some content, right? It's an hash, and one of the properties of an hash is that if you have the same content, you have the same hash.
Yeah.
If you change something in the content, then the hash doesn't apply anymore, right?
Yeah.
So as when we see content addressing as an hash, which is what it is, right? It's a multi-hash. It has other properties than just a simple hash, but there is no lifespan for that hash. If you can reproduce the same item, if you have the item, you will have the hash.
No, it's not what
Right?
I'm saying. What I'm
I
saying is,
know.
let's say, if I'm the only one that has the item and I put it on IPFS and I have a hash for it. If my computer goes away, that item will disappear. Let's say that
It will
my
disappear
computer
until
just
you
died.
upload it again. We are not talking.
That was my upload.
No, you have to. One thing that you have to
Yeah.
understand
Okay.
is
Let's say this. You have kind of the same issue with BitTorrent. You have some seeds to files, whatever, and within time those files just disappear, never show up again. They're lost, despite that you have an hash for those. So that's what can happen, and it does happen on IPFS if you don't store it in some.
But
if you don't pin it in some location, you can lose it.
there is something that people need to wrap their heads around, which is storage costs money.
Yep.
Right? There is no solution for this. No, it's not NFTs that will solve this problem. It's not IPFS that solves this problem. Storage costs money. If you want to store your things, don't rely on third parties. Store it yourself and pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's it.
I'm bringing these issues because these
Right?
are issues that NFTs have, and they were not invented to fix those.
Yeah. So when people understand that there is no free lunch, right? If you want storage, you pay for it and you have it.
Yeah,
And when they see IPFS providers as safe guardians of your own content, right? And when people realize that, okay, I store my copies at home in a CD or a DVD or whatever, just to cold store my content so that I never lose it. And I rely on like Web3 service, which is a service provided by Protocol Labs and IPFS team to have that my live copy of my content, right, that I pay for, so that it never goes away, right?
that is also not a
Then
guarantee.
it's not a guarantee. Why? Because if you as long as you pay,
Because
it is there.
well, it's far fetched, but all the nodes can refuse to pin your content.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I know, but there's no that can happen with anything. They can refuse to pin my content, but if I
Yeah,
have
I
a
know.
node,
I'm not saying that. I'm just elucidating that there is this problem that you can have an NFT that points to nothing eventually,
no, that's what
because you can lose
that's where I,
the resource.
that's where I want to go to touch. Uh, it will not point to nothing. It will point to a content address that represents your content all the time. Whether if it is on IPFS public, on a private net that of yours, or if you send the content to someone and they just upload it to IPFS and get the same hash.
I
That's
know.
it.
But what I'm saying is that a copy has to exist somewhere, and it's not guaranteed
Yeah,
that
of
that
course.
copy will exist eventually.
I don't think that
And I understand
is a
that
problem
what
at
you
all.
and I understand what you're saying about, okay, if you paid for the service, you will have it, but that is also not 100% guaranteed.
Let's think about one thing. The problem is another problem. The problem that we have is that we are thinking of NFTs as the content.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFT is not the
Yeah,
content. It's a certificate of whatever. If it is
yeah,
of authenticity, for instance, of ownership, if you so wish. I think it's dumb, but okay. Because if a song, for instance, is represented by an NFT in ownership, then the only owner of that song is the author. It's not me. Why should I buy a song and have the ownership of a song? That doesn't make sense unless there is a song that is divided in uh, like, I don't know, 100 or 1,000 beats, and those beats are NFTs, and I can own a part of the song
yeah,
of my favorite band. That's a cool thing, but that's not ownership of the song. That's
yeah,
ownership of a collectible of the
yeah,
song. People need to understand this difference. I'm not buying songs. It doesn't make sense because they are not mine. There is an author that created that thing.
yeah.
So if it's ownership, it's the only owner can be the author. Doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
otherwise,
we keep dropping
right?
up to
Yeah,
on the same thing, because
but
we are
related to
thinking, and we are doing things the old way. So
Yeah,
we need to
but
rethink
related to this question,
all that.
the difference is that if we understand that the certificate, the NFT is a certificate of something, doesn't matter of can be of licensing, a certificate of something else. It's not a representation of the content. The content is a different beast, and an hash that represents uniquely that content and not anything else. It's proof enough for me. I don't see any problem with that at all. If we don't see it as a content, if we see it as content, then there is a problem. Content availability, right? But I see content availability as a different problem. It's not a certificate problem. It's a problem of infrastructure. That certificate is valid anyway if it's produced with an IPFS content ID. Whenever I have the content, it's my responsibility to store it somewhere. If I have the content, I can create a content ID for that content, and I am pretty sure if it's the same content, it will have the same content ID always.
Yeah.
But I cannot change anything. And one
Yeah, of
problem
course.
with this, is, for instance, music in MP3 is not a good way to store or to create content IDs for IPFS, for NFTs, or any format that allows metadata.
Yeah.
Don't do this, because whenever you change the metadata,
Yeah,
which
it will
is
change. You
common,
can, even if you
even
change a
players
single
do
bit,
it.
your hash will be
Yeah,
totally different.
even
So
players do change the metadata of
yeah,
files. So don't do this shit. Just create a proper lossless, like a WAV representation of that, or a lossless video if your content is video, and use that without any metadata to create your content ID,
yeah,
because metadata is tricky, and
yeah,
with content IDs it doesn't work.
yeah. We are talking about the duplication of stuff, and that we shouldn't uh, kind of bother about the duplication of stuff, of the resources. But let me bring you
Yeah,
one way that where we should, and this is just an example, of course, like in gaming. When we are talking about gaming, you go to World of Warcraft and you have this magic sword and it's unique on the game. You cannot allow duplication of that, right? Even though that it's digital, and you cannot allow duplication of that. So
mm-hmm.
you will have to have also that kind of resource that it's digital, but you cannot duplicate.
Yeah, but the resource ownership is the NFT.
Yes.
So the content attached to the NFT is just the way for the game to render that item, right? And if we are not talking about decentralized gaming, which is a different story,
Yeah.
because it's not a reality yet. There's only just a few approaches on that, but it's
Yeah, but those are kind of centralized, right?
yeah.
Because
There is always
let's
a
say
central entity anyway, which
yes,
is the game
yeah. Let's
provider.
say yeah. Let's say that you have that sort, right? If it's totally decentralized, what stops me of creating another NFT that points to the same resource?
The contract. The contract is the provenance.
Well, what if I get an NFT from another blockchain,
You from another
from another
blockchain,
contract?
there is a different thing. But
Because
from another contract, there is a
I'm overstepping here. I want to go first to another issue.
Yeah.
before we talk
Okay.
about this,
Okay.
which is right now the biggest NFT provider is Ethereum. It's Ethereum blockchain for sure. But who knows in 20 years who will be, which blockchain will be, and how do we move some NFT to be visible on other blockchains and usable on other blockchains? Because right now it's the Ethereum blockchain, which is the king, but in 10 years, who knows which will be. We are building integration between blockchains, but this is a misstep in my view, because you cannot move the NFTs around.
Um, I think that when you see a token as a certificate, what's the point of moving it from the chain to another chain?
That's what I was talking about before this, and I wanted to bring this. Uh, the point of moving to another blockchain is because other blockchains may have other usage of the resources. Where just imagine that, let's say that you have an NFT market in another blockchain that Ethereum doesn't have, and you want to put your NFT on sale on two different markets, which are on two different blockchains. Right now, you can put your Mona Lisa in 10 different markets, and the first one that sells, it sells. It's the one that wins. But right now, with NFTs, you have to stick yourself to a single blockchain.
To stick yourself? No. I'm
You
not
have to
doing
stick to a
that.
single. You have to
I'm
stick
not
to a single
doing that.
blockchain.
Well, the thing is, inter-blockchain communication will be a thing in the future. Who knows
Hopefully.
when? But the thing, if we are talking about layers, for instance, Ethereum has layer 1, and then we want to use a layer 2 like Polygon or whatever. I think that things can be done in a different way. That it's not that you need to move the assets from chain to chain. You just need to create another representation of the same asset in a different chain, and having a way to to communicate changes from
Mhm.
one side to the other, and that can be done with bridges, which always have centralized uh, entities that are prone to either human error or hacking. And we've seen that it's not a good solution. Whenever
Right.
humans are involved, uh, shit happens. So that's the thing.
Yeah, that's how we evolve.
Yeah. So I am waiting and very curious about the next um, things that will bring more decentralization to the bridging problem. Uh, one is the chain link thing. I don't know the name of that. I don't remember from top of my head, but that's one idea. And there are many other ideas being worked on. So if it is a question of layer twos and layer threes and whatever to become more cheap, I see that as a one part of the solution. Uh, if we are talking about different layer ones, I don't see the point, because either your game provider, we are talking about games, but it applies to any other thing. If you, it's the same thing as you consider imagining uh, a piece of art, going to Mona Lisa again. uh, if I have a certificate of authenticity from expert A, it doesn't make any sense for me to try to translate that certificate to a certificate of expert B, because
No, it's the point was not
the
that. The point was to make it available on different blockchains. For some reason, I came up with the idea of having the same item on sale on different markets because they are on different blockchains. So by that, you will have to duplicate the NFTs, and it's not
and that creates a bigger
a single one
problem.
anymore. Yeah,
That creates a
that was
bigger
my
problem than a
that was my
solution,
issue because I
right?
want to go back
Doesn't
to the
make sense.
gaming thing. Which how do you will you guarantee that you have a single item then with the single
Yes,
sword if you have
I
to
I was
NFTs?
going I was
Yeah,
going there.
so
The
that's why I wanted
game,
to introduce
yeah,
the other issue
the
before.
game provider needs to define which contracts on which chains it supports,
Hmm.
and you as a gamer buy items that belong to those contracts on those chains. If you buy it on Polygon, you buy it from a issuer that is accepted by the game. You are good to go. Everything is fine, no problem.
Hmm.
If you buy it from an issuer that is not accepted by the game, you have been screwed. That's
Yeah,
life, right? I
yeah,
don't see any. It has to be like that.
yeah,
The game needs
yeah.
to
It has
be
for sure.
supporting uh, issuers on certain blockchains. Even they can even support the same issuer on multiple blockchains, on multiple contracts, right?
Yeah.
But it's up to the game producer to decide what items it will be supporting
Hmm.
and on which chains,
Yeah,
and that's it. I
yeah.
don't
I
see
do
any
agree with
problem
that.
there, right?
Yeah. The last thing that I wanted to bring up is while we are still using HTTP pointers for the resources,
Uh,
there is. I know what you're going to say. Don't use HTTP servers for that, but like I said, we are in this messy phase
yeah,
where it's still the main resource locator that it's used. It's an
yeah.
HTTP link, and what can happen is that the resource can change because you are pointing to some URL, and the resource can change. So
Yeah.
let's say you buy the NFT that points to a picture of the Mona Lisa, and you paid like $100 for that, and next month I just change your resource to some kids painting.
I'm not buying
So
overpriced JPEGs.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
first
but
thing,
that's the
right?
thing, and since now it's the main usage, like the main way that the NFTs are being used, I think that there's a big problem there, and I know what you're going to say. Well, just point it to an IPFS, and the problem will be fixed. But we are not there yet.
Now, people don't understand the difference between content addressing and URLs. Uh,
Yeah, well,
URLs, uh, URL means universal resource
resource
location.
locator. Yeah,
So it's a location of that
yeah.
resource, right? It points to
It's a
the
location. It's
place.
only a location. It's not a location for that resource.
It doesn't say
That would be
it.
more like IPFS,
It
because you
doesn't
cannot
say
guarantee the resource there.
it doesn't say the location forever. It's the location, the
No,
current
no, no.
location, right?
No.
So
The location is there. The resource might not be. And
yeah,
when we are saying that it's universal resource locator, it's a locator, it's universal, but it cannot be for the resource that you are expecting
oh,
to.
yeah,
And
it can
that's
be
the big
tampered with,
difference. Yeah, well,
or it
you
can
can
disappear.
deliver whatever you want on that
Yeah,
locator, and
yeah.
that doesn't happen with IPFS. And I wanted to bring up this issue because the big difference to an
No,
IPFS
people need to
resource.
understand that the future of the web uh, is completely different than the web that we are using right now,
Yeah.
for many reasons. And that's one thing that I cannot understand, why these things are so um, slow to adopt.
It's not that. It's just I think that's slow to adopt. I think that's slow to adopt because there's too many people, and you have like an average of knowledge between everybody, right? You can, even though that we can think in another way, they will require a percentage of people. This theory has some sort of a name, like when you get like to 20% or something like that, things start moving faster.
Yeah,
I don't remember the name of that. It's this number where
yeah, it's the 20,
people
the
things
80
start to
20
change.
rule.
Yeah, it's this threshold where people start to real incorporate the changes. And we are not there yet, and we are really far away from that, because we are talking about very few people that well, we are talking about very few people that understand Web 2, let alone Web 3.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Web3 is a completely different story. You will not be addressing content by the location anymore. You will be addressing content by the content itself. You will be not connecting to a server to get your content. You will connect to the internet, and the
To a
internet as a
network.
mesh.
You are
The,
connecting to a network.
the internet as a mesh will deliver your
Yeah.
content, not a single server or a bunch of
Yeah.
servers in a cloud. We can
Yeah, but I mean, just by that,
so
you know, how many times we have this discussion when we're discussing distributed environments, and we're not even talking about internet. We're just talking about local networks and how to do local networking in a distributed environment, or even a distributed system. People don't quite understand how the distributed systems work. So people are used to go to Google, and people think that Google is just a single computer that it's out there and it's delivering the things, and it behaves like that, right? But it's a huge infrastructure. If you go inside, they work in a distributed way internally, but not
yeah.
externally. And
I think
what people see is that uniform thing that it
and
looks
that's
like a
good.
single entity.
That's perfect. What I questioned is not the people. The people don't need to understand what's. They just need to understand that there is a thing called internet. And
Well, they do.
yeah,
They don't know how it works.
it's up to us, the technical people and the providers of the infrastructure or the resources that they use to know better. We need to know better, not the
Yeah.
user. The user, for him or for them, is, man, I am connected to the internet in my phone.
Yeah,
uh,
but again, you are
and
talking
that's
about the future. What I'm talking is in this phase. In this phase, people will have to know what they're doing because we
uh,
don't have
what I
the things
was
developed yet.
trying to question was that, for instance, IPFS is a real thing already
Yeah,
today, and it is a real thing for 10 years or more,
yeah,
uh, or 9 years or whatever, uh, and it became very robust, and no browser supports it yet, besides Brave.
yeah. It's Brave does. Yeah,
But Brave is a Web3 project
yeah.
of people
It's
that
in
are
this
brave.
phase. It's in this
Yeah,
phase.
of people that
They
are
still
brave
have one
enough.
foot. They are still have one foot, of course, in Web 2 because they will have to support it
Of
because
course,
99% of stuff are
of
still
course,
in Web 2
but it
and one foot
supports
on Web 3.
it supports already IPFS, integrates with
Yeah,
IPFS
they
desktop.
have their own
Uh,
wallet. They yeah,
yeah, so uh, but I was expecting that IPFS could be uh, adopted at the browser level uh, easier, because it's just a
yeah. Well,
complement. It doesn't
I
have to
think it should be.
substitute anything,
Yeah, I
right?
think it should be adopted on the operating system directly.
Of course, it's as a networking capability
Yeah,
directly, like the network stack and IPFS,
yeah,
and everything connects there. If it's an IPFS link, it's grabbed from the IPFS mesh. If it's a location link, uh, it's
yeah,
the other way, the legacy way. It should
yeah,
be already like that today. Why
yeah,
it is not, I don't see why. I am using IPFS on a daily basis,
yeah,
and I love it. And I am surprised that many sites are becoming to have the IPFS versions.
yeah,
And I see it on Brave because I go there and they say, "Oh, redirecting to the IPFS link.
yeah.
Cool. There is one more, but it's so slow. It's
Yeah,
just,
well, it is. It is.
come on, we can do
Yeah,
better." IPFS is it's much better than the location addressing system. It's
yeah.
much better, and just the optimizations in terms of performance and in network management that we
Hmm.
have would be
Yeah,
very cost effective to create the resources for the use of IPFS. Because if you think that, for instance, imagine one of the big providers in the country, the internet providers. If there is a very viral um,
yeah. Some
content,
content. Yeah,
yeah,
they can just
they are
cache it. Yeah,
they they
automatically.
they cache it, and they have the costs of serving the content themselves to millions of people uh, in sequence, not just by mesh distributing the thing.
And it's not only that because
It's a
if I have the
cost.
content, I also serve the content automatically.
With IPFS,
And
the
if
content
my
would have a
neighbor
life
has the
of its
content,
own.
I will get it from my neighbor and don't need to go to the other
Yeah.
side of the world to be served with that
In
content.
my local network, if my wife downloaded the content and I want to see it, I'm
Yeah,
not connecting to anyone, just her.
yeah, you are not connecting to the internet.
Yeah. I can see it offline.
Yeah,
Man, this is so much better.
yeah,
I don't see why we have to take so long to implement this or use this technology. But I don't see why we are taking this long to have
yeah.
to have um, what's the name of it, IPv6.
I don't like
So
IPv6.
why not?
Because sometimes I need to address my computers on my network with IP, and I cannot
But
memorize IPv6 stuff.
you don't need to
No.
memorize it because they have their own IDs. It's just an ID, yeah, right? Uh, but with IPv6, we have a whole different problem, which is the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure that needed to be.
Yeah. There are some devices
Uh,
that still don't
yeah,
support IPv6.
but in Web3, in IPFS, it's a different thing because there is no infrastructure to change. The infrastructure is the same. It's just
Yeah,
software that needs
yeah,
to embrace a new protocol, and it's the same shit, right? It's taking forever. Like, come on,
it's a
move.
huge change. You have to realize it's a huge change.
I know, but I'm being patient. So I started using IPFS back in 2016.
Yeah,
Right? It's so like 7 years already,
yeah,
and I was not a pioneer. It was
yeah,
it was a thing before, right? So it's like 8 or 9 years already of a tool that is amazing, and it's still marginal, the
yeah,
usage.
yeah,
Man, I really love the way it works. It's amazing, and I run a bunch of IPFS nodes. I have one in my browser, another one in my rack, and and I even use IPFS to send files from this computer to my studio computer, which is
yeah,
the music studio on the other room, and I really love it. Why shouldn't we use that? Why should I have to uh, connect to the other computer with SSH or SCP something through the network to the other computer or whatever? I just create an IPFS link and load it on the other side,
yeah,
and it just goes, right? It's as
yeah.
simple as that. So
It is. Yeah, for us
w-
it is. But
when
yeah,
people understand the difference,
it's a huge change.
when people understand the difference, they will stop using HTTP links in NFTs.
Yeah, of course.
Just to wrap up, this was the long story to reply to your question, but the
Yeah,
problem is that one. It is that people don't understand it.
yeah, yeah. It is. That's why we're here, and we are trying to deconstruct a lot of things that go up, and try to make things simpler for everybody, and try to explain how the things are done wisely.
So, guys, if you are watching this far, this until now, just go to IPFS, install an IPFS desktop in your computer, for instance. It just stays in your bar, and it
Yeah,
doesn't interfere with your machine. You
that doesn't
just,
bother you at all.
yeah, and you just have a way to upload files to your nodes and to download it on
Yeah,
a different machine, and it's just like that. It's as easy as that, and experiment with it and understand how it works, understand content addressing, and you will be a pioneer, because uh, yeah, people just don't care, but we should
yeah.
care more. So
Okay, let's wrap up,
we-
and let's say something about the links. You can reach us through our social media. You have our Telegram. You have our Discord there on the description. Just get to us, ask us questions, say whatever you want to us. We'll try to reply as soon as we can. And don't forget to like and to subscribe, so that you can get notified about other videos that we might pop up.
yes, and Thanks for joining us in our mission to decentralize the world
Wisely.
wisely. And see you in the next episode. We
See you
are
in the next one.
doing episodes every Monday. So tune in and join the conversations. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.